this is embarrassing. There was a button I had to push. I didn't push the button. I didn't push the button. Technology, man, I'm telling ya. Yeah, YouTube works now. I'm sure it does. Because I actually did something a little different, and it looked like I was live, and I wasn't. Hi! How long have I been doing Cello Doll? Telling ya. It's okay. Happens to the best of us. That's right. You know, sometimes we just make a little oopsie. I was wondering, I was so excited, and no one was on YouTube. Because I wasn't on YouTube. Criminy, I'm so sorry. You know, at the end of the stream, so sorry. I know you all have been waiting. I'll give a little recap at the end of what we talked about so you all don't miss anything. Well, man, y'all, I'm so sorry about that. I need an assistant, man, I'm telling you. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, man. Okay. Well, anyways. Yeah, okay. Cool. Okay. I'm over it. Love cello, me too. Well, you're in the right place if you love cello. Okay, so for those of you who might just be jumping on Instagram and of course on YouTube, you're just joining us, it's Cello Tip Thursday with V and me, and we're going to be answering your questions about electric performance. And I'll be sure on YouTube, I will hang on a little longer for y'all so you get your full hour. Again, technology, man. So if you want to see even more V, head on over to YouTube by 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern. We're going to be on YouTube a little longer. Cool. Awesome. So, let me know. We talked a little bit about gear for practicing at home. If there's any cellists out there who are debating on what kind of electric to buy, if you want to know more about V, let me know. Also, I do have to change my technique a little bit when I play on V. I do have to change a little bit of what I do and a little bit with the bow technique, things like that. So I'll talk a little bit about that until we see some questions pop up. And I'll talk a little bit about the pedal board I'm using as well, kind of giving a little demo today. So, one thing to know about electric playing goes without saying, you are amplified at all times. So, I have an amp here to my right that is acting like a big microphone. So, whatever I do is really amplified. I have a microphone nearby, so you're kind of getting a mic of an amp, but generally every little bow change, every little intricate motion has a big neon sign on it. So what I had to learn really quickly was I could play a little lighter because I'm getting a lot of volume through the amplification. I play a little lighter and I try to play smooth, even when it's staccato, even when it's accented. On a a cello, on an acoustic cello, I would probably play, but you can kind of hear there's some interference in the amp. You don't need as much weight on an electric cello because it kind of, you hear the string getting too much weight into it, and that's really amplified. I'll do it on a higher string, and then I see, aha, okay, great. I see a nice question there on YouTube. I'm going to show you quickly about the higher strings. If I want to get louder, now I'm probably playing 80% of what I would do to get that volume on cello. And again, because we're amplified through the amp gives us a little extra boost. And if I really wanted to lean in a lot, like on an acoustic, I mean, you hear a lot of bow noise. I'm gonna wait a second because we're getting some. The loading wheel of doom is on YouTube. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Don't know why that's happening. I'm told I have an excellent connection according to my stream analysis, so I'm sorry about that, but maybe it's the time of day today, but so you have to play a little lighter, and the same goes when your acoustic cello is amplified. You do have to be careful that you don't overplay, that you're not too heavy, but I will say this goes to one of our dolls on YouTube. I have only ever used the Realist. Very curious about the full electric experience. So, for those of you who don't know, the Realist is I talked about it on my stream last month, but it basically is installed under your bridge. Yeah, great. Good questions. I love seeing them. The Realist, you install it under your bridge, and it has kind of a column you wrap around your tailpiece, and you can plug a 1/4 inch into that and amplify your acoustic cello. So that's what the Realist pickup is. And the thing about that, the biggest difference I've noticed is with the Realist, you still get the acoustic satisfaction of the cello body. So you do still feel the resonance with the wooden hollow instrument, and that really does allow you to gauge a lot of your sound in real time because you have the instrument so close. You are hearing a lot of the yes, you can hear the cello a lot in real time. So, and if you're in a venue with a really good sound system, it shouldn't sound that much different than what you hear in your practice room playing on an acoustic. So the goal of the Realist pickup on your acoustic cello is to get a much more accurate sound wave to come out of the speaker and to sound more like your acoustic cello. Otherwise, you can mic a cello, but you're adding in another variable of what type of mic, where's the mic placed. The thing about electric that really took some getting used to. I'm going to turn off all of my amplification. So if I didn't have an amp and I had to practice at home, okay, this is what the acoustic sounds like with nothing. And it's okay, but it sounds a little weak, a little nasally. And I definitely can't put a lot of weight on it, because then, it doesn't sound very nice. So having all of this, it's definitely a very different experience because you are at the mercy of the venue, the type of speakers, because this doesn't have any real, everything has an acoustic property, but this isn't a hollow body, so there isn't too much natural resonance with this kind of instrument, so you really have to work with your setup to get more resonance. So that is something to get used to, is knowing I'm playing on my amp with my pedals. I go to a venue, it might sound kind of different, and I might need to play a little more or back off even more with my bow arm weight. And the other thing too, you have to be you hear that? You really hear finger noise too, because everything you do is amplified. So one thing, if you're thinking about getting an electric cello, really practice how cleanly you can play without you have to be very clean. You hear a lot of fuzz, extra stuff. So really practicing on how clean and immediate you can make a sound. That was something else. Immediately getting a crisp, articulate sound. Not sneaking in with the bow. You hear a lot of stuff going on. So how many cellos do I have and how do I name them? Sure. So, I currently own 3 cellos. I have Celli, you all know very well. This is V. And my 3rd cello, if you've seen me play in Las Vegas, the cello that I have for amplified and outdoor gigs, I call her Big Red. And that one's pretty self-explanatory. She's much bigger than Shelly size-wise, and she has a red-orange varnish color. And I try to name my instruments based off of their personality, whether it's their appearance, how they sound, how they look. Are they dark and broody in color, or are they bright in color? Shelly kind of became a joke from my childhood, because one of my childhood conductors would scold us by calling us Celli as a section, and whenever my cello had issues with the weather, I would scold it by calling it Celli. So I just was scolding it like a conductor, and the name just kind of stuck. So that's how Celli got its name. V. I was trying to think of something sleek. It kind of has a very, I don't know, it kind of reminded me of like a secret agent. It's like it's black. It's very sleek looking. The design is kind of cool. And I was trying to think of something with the full Italian name, violoncello, is the full name for cello. And I don't know why. Don't ask me why, but I started thinking about the movie V for Vendetta, which is an amazing movie. Love that movie. It's probably in my top 10 of all favorite movies. And the main character's name is V. It's just the letter V. But I decided to spell mine V-I, like violoncello. I don't know why. And V, the character, he's a rebel. He's mysterious. He dresses in all black. That's kind of where V came from. So that's kind of the origin story of my instrument names. But yeah, I just, whether they have a unique look, a unique sound, I think sound is like an instrument's personality. So actually, Big Red strikes me as a lady cello. Chelly and V strike me as male cellos. But I don't know. They could be very fluid. I don't know. That's just kind of their playing just kind of strikes me that way. But yeah, I know Chelly might be a feminine noun. I'm not sure. Maybe. But yeah. So that's kind of how I name my cellos. Okay. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna have to do another adjustment. You guys have been so patient. I really appreciate it. Just because this is my first time live streaming while standing. And I knew something was gonna go amiss here. So let me just, let me quickly, oh. Sorry, guys. Cool. Chelly. I know. Because I know, I'll tell you dolls a funny story. I'll tell you a really funny story. I don't remember if it was a comment on one of my posts or if it was a live stream, but somebody wrote, Chelly means cello. And I felt like saying, no way! Of course I know. I've been playing this instrument. I've been living this life for 22 years. Of course I know Chelly means cello. I didn't say anything, but I think that makes it even funnier. It's like naming a dog. So yeah. So we've talked about the difference an amp can make. Let's talk about pedals. So, okay, so pedals. Just making sure I'm not missing anything. Cool. So pedals, I am on the Boss GT1B bass effects processor. And right now, this is kind of, oh, we have a question. Awesome, hello, great. We'll put a pause on pedals. Somebody asked about strings. That's a very good question. So, this cello, and I asked, because I was curious about that too, I haven't heard anything in particular where there's one string brand you should avoid, or there's one model of electric cello that's very finicky. So I could be mistaken, but as far as my knowledge goes, you can use any cello string as long as it's a full-size string. So you can use any string as long as it's a full size to match the ratio of a full-size cello. I don't know if they make smaller electric cellos, not to my knowledge, but that'd be cool if they started doing that and we had kids learning on electric cellos. That would be so cool. That would be really, really cool. So yes, you can use any cello string on electrics. Mine came with strings, and I'm guessing, so this cello, I should tell you, for those of you who don't know, this is the NXTA cello by NS Design, and it's 4-string and fretless. And NS Design makes their own strings, so I'm guessing that's what their cellos come with, are the NS Design cello strings. But I did ask, and they said you can use any full-size cello string. So that's good at least. I think what's important though, I do think, I don't know, I'm curious what it would be like to try a very tough, vibrant string, or to do something more mellow to get a little closer to an acoustic sound, like a string type that isn't so piercing with like a laser beam sound, but one that is a little more mellow and subtle. I'd be curious. So I'll let you dolls know when I change strings what I choose. Oh, okay. That's a very good question. Somebody asked about whether beginners could start on an electric cello. Honestly, you know, I've taught a couple beginners who were on an electric cello. And if anything, I think it would be it could be beneficial for them, because everything they do, they're going to hear it amplified, and in a way, it might allow their ears to be more sensitive to technical things, to hear when their bow is sliding, or to hear when they're accidentally creeping in on another string. So I think it would be, I don't think beginners should avoid an electric cello. The thing to be careful on though, especially with something like V, the only thing I would caution, their NS Design makes an attachment where you can actually have an end pin, and the curves on the side that rest against your knees, there is an attachment that NS makes for this cello. If I had a student that was really, really passionate on wanting to use this model, I would really heavily suggest they get that attachment, because with the Yamaha, you do get the curves of the acoustic body shape, and that is so important for playing posture and learning how to hold the instrument. If I just gave someone this and they've never played a cello before, I would have to teach them very differently, and it would make the transition very difficult to go from standing and playing to sitting with an acoustic. So I would say if you have a student that's interested in an electric cello, I would make sure it has something that is reminiscent of the acoustic body shape, and just you know, being their guide for what kind of gear they need. They would need a small amp to practice on at home, and just making sure, you know, it's kind of cool. They'll start learning the lingo of electric string playing right off the bat. So, And the other thing too is, you know, once they learn, maybe in a year or two, maybe they rent an acoustic cello for half a year and feel what that experience is like. Once they have a good fundamental on their bow hand and their intonation, it would be nice to have them get used to switching on and off as well, because that is also an adjustment to make. I hope that that helps. Okay, let me make sure. Okay, cool. Very good question there on YouTube. Awesome. So I showed you all my favorite acoustic sound. And this, I got a bass effects processor because, as I was mentioning earlier, the frequencies, it's since it's built for a bass guitar, it's gonna have more capabilities for the lower end of cello. The cello does go slightly lower than a regular guitar. It goes a couple notes lower. So to get something in the bass guitar range will really make sure that lower end is sustained. It's sustained and supported. So this is my favorite right now distortion patch to get kind of, everyone is waiting for that electric guitar kind of sound for playing solos and shredding and some of the improv videos I've put up on my platforms. So this one. This one is really good for the double stop. So let me turn this up just a little bit. Let me add some of, well, I don't want, okay, there we go. And notice, here's another little tip for electric playing. Notice how the vibrato kind of really, even though I'm not sliding my finger around, it really distorts the vibrato. So it sounds really, really wide. Almost to the point of fluctuating between notes on the... So when the more effects you put on, know that you have to do your vibrato with a grain of salt. A little bit of vibrato, like a tight vibrato, or no vibrato at all, because again, it's gonna almost sound what we'll get to, which is the wah-wah pedal. This one comes with a little wah pedal, and that intentionally is going to bend the pitch. And that's a way you can embellish solos. And you don't want all of your vibrato to sound like a slippery sliding pitch. So to turn on most pedals, you really got to step into it, and you'll see some sort of indicator come on, and then some effects work with it better than others. Let me try this one. I'm still getting used to this, so bear with me, but you hear that wow, wow, wow? So, sounds a little, I might not use it on that patch. It sounds a little Squidward-esque on acoustic, but that's one reason you got to really spend time and experiment with these so you can learn what works. If you really want to use your wah pedal, what sounds better straight and you don't want to do the pedal. This one is a little more intense. This one's called Fuzz. So this one, you hear it more on the upper end. So that one I might do for a higher guitar solo. This might be a better patch. You hear it's not as vibrant down there, and you hear a lot more of the cello sound coming through. It almost sounds like static, but on the upper, it sounds better. So you need to know that just because something says distortion on it, this one, I'll go back to the other distortion. It really works across the range of the cello from very low to very high. So these are a lot of factors, and I feel like I'm learning along with a lot of you about electric cello playing, but those are a few things, and you really got to just take time to experiment with patches, playing. Again, I found a patch for higher solos, a distortion that works all around. I'll play a bass line. One of the groups I play with here in Vegas is called Bella Strings, and this is a bass line from one of their covers of a medley by The Who. And I'll play it for you in different effects. So if I were to just play it acoustic, it would sound, let's go a little more, and that's pretty cool, right? It's a cool bass line, but if we put some distortion on it, it's gonna get a lot more heft on it. And it's gonna really sound like a chugging guitar line, and it really changes the character. So really can change the character and vibe of a piece, or a cover, or whatever you want to, however you want to think of them. And another thing that I really want to do, and a lot of people, guitarists are fabulous at this, they'll have pedals for certain decades. Like to get, if they're doing an 80s cover versus a 70s or 60s cover, they'll have different patches for different decades of music to replicate different guitars of the time. And I think that's so cool to kind of have that knowledge and to know more about that and what to look for. It's kind of like in classical playing, how you play a staccato in Mozart versus how you would play a staccato in Prokofiev or Shostakovich. It's a really cool thing to kind of have that knowledge. And so if, I've only played electric. I really started working on V. V was kind of my pandemic project, was getting comfortable on the cello. So only since 2020. And I think if you want to start covering rock more and things like that. I have a big interest in emo rock from the early 2000s, the golden years, early like 2000 to 2010. Really listening for the type of guitars that are used and what sounds and effects. So to really do research, you know, and I think that's kind of part of our responsibility if we want to cover artists, right? It's the same thing in classical music studying. You can't just play Mozart like you're on a bulldozer. You know, you really got to learn the style. So that's kind of the next step, I think, in evolving as an electric cellist, is getting more well-versed with guitar types, guitar styles, things like that. So let me get some H2O and see if y'all have any questions. Let me see. Yep. Na 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 na. Na na. Checking on the Instagram. Cool. I'm gonna show you another one of my favorite patches. I hope I can find it. I have them like bookmarked in my phone, but on Insta, y'all are on my phone. So I found this is so fun. One of my other favorites. It's a organ sound. And I wanna post a couple things with this one. Oh, cool. Okay, we're getting to. I also have a row. There it is. I have a series of distortion patches. Some other ones to show you, but that's something that I really want to record on Instagram sometime. Is the Toccata and Fugue from Bach. Someone said on Instagram they wanted to hear the Bach cello suites. There is a part actually in the third cello suite that I truly think Bach was trying to replicate organ on cello. Hey, let's just go for it. Let's see what it sounds like. I'm gonna turn off the delay though, because it's really organy, right? I mean, I'm biased. I'm playing it with an organ patch. What can I say? But it's just like the voicing and the way it just rings forever. It's such an organ thing. Cellists in the room, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. That third suite moment where the heavens open up. It's like the second half of the second page. So good. And you know I love the organ patch. I just love the organ patch. So that's kind of one of my favorites to play around with. You know, there's a lot of potential that you can sound like an organ as a cellist. So there's a wide variety of stuff we have in this. For those of you who are new joining, there's over I think 100 effects on this pedal board. Okay, yeah. Now we're getting to it. Here's some other distortions. This one's called Metalhead. You know, that one's a little thicker. You know, that one really has a little more meat on it, which could be cool for C string lines. Again, thinking about how does it sound on top. But you notice it's kind of hard. The notes are a little more, they blend a little more. There's a little more overlap. I'm not very articulate, actually. And this doesn't even have any reverb on it. So again, you know, just because a patch sounds cool, might not sound cool on the whole register. Is this that one's a little, extreme distortion. Let's see this one. Oh, wow, we're about to have liftoff. You hear that? Sounds like a little space laser beam in there. But so I wouldn't use that for a rock cover. Cry Vibe. Oh, this one's cool. I remember this one. So listen when I play a long note. Wow, 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 wow. So this one, let's try that chunky eighth note bass. You hear it? Wah, 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 wah. It still sounds kind of spacey. Rock and roll solo. But I don't know if you guys can hear, a lot of them have a little wah in them. And I really think that's something to think about, especially, now why might that happen? Well, if you think about it, when we bow, we're really pulling the string back and forth whenever we bow. That one's very extreme. But if I pluck, I mean, there's a little bit, but a pluck, like what a guitarist would do with a pick, it's very percussive. Here we're pulling the we're pulling the string back and forth, and there's a lot more recharging the resonance because we're pulling the bow. So I really think you have to be very careful with some of these, as the friction of the bow could really affect the patch, be affected by the patch, I should say. I just love this pipe organ one. I just want to be a pipe organist. That's wild. So, that's the other thing too, though. An organ is very resonant, so you have to play a little slower, I think. Like the air going through, like a big accordion, It's wild. Again, you might have to change how you play a little bit. You know, give the notes more time to speak and really play around with your patches. Those are some of my favorites. I'm going to go through, see if there was anything else. So what I'm doing right now, I'm actually pushing an up arrow with my foot. Oh, heavy and dirty. That one's cool. Okay, I see you. So you don't hear the wow, 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 wow sound. You don't hear that here. So this would be a good patch. And this one is actually, it's, I don't know why it's called heavy and dirty. It's actually a clean patch. I'm not getting a lot of like that staticky distortion. So I think it's funny it's called heavy and dirty. It's actually quite clean. You know, I don't know why it's called heavy and dirty. Oh, this one's called heavy roar, but it's, I still, am I like being too picky? I just hear a lot of spaceship sometimes. Sounds spaceshipy, which is cool, but maybe it's something like Muse. They kind of have that vibe to me, Muse, but again, I'm talking, what, a couple patches out of like 100 something? There's, ooh, dreamy. That one's really cool. I dig that one. Angelic. I like the other one better, the dreamy one. So I'm gonna go back. So yeah, again, I'm pushing an up and down. There's an up arrow, a down arrow, and that's how I scroll through. Call it your effect bank. And I went too far. That's okay. Yes. And again, one thing I still need to do on this board, thankfully, two of my favorite patches, and I actually have a gig, in a little bit where I'm gonna bring this, and I hope, I'm able to use it. Sometimes it depends on the sound system, what it can handle, but here it is. My two favorites right now are next to each other. The warm drive. You know, like something like Eleanor Rigby, or then the distortion. I would probably stick with those two, and they're next to each other in the bank. But what you can do on a lot of pedal boards is you can like organize a list of effects. So you don't have to scroll like 20 times. You pick an order you can remember, and you put the effects you want next to each other, like a playlist in a sound library. So you can do that in boards. You can kind of make a custom list of your favorites. So awesome. You know what? I'm just going to stay on Instagram longer. It's fine. I don't know why I said I was going to end you early. That doesn't make sense. Because I was afraid it was going to get repetitive. That's why. But I don't think so. Again, I feel really silly about what happened on YouTube. I'm so sorry. I feel bad. People were... Y'all in the chat were so sweet. They're like, are you okay? Because I wasn't streaming. And I thought I was. considerate and sweet. Glad you're okay. I'm okay. I was just being really... I just made a dumb mistake, but it was a mistake, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'll switch this out for another one. I liked that heavy and dirty. That wasn't dirty. I really liked that one. So the other thing I want to tell you all on YouTube, and it'll be a good refresher for those of you on Instagram, or those of you who are joining the stream a little later. Excuse me. We were talking about gear and what you needed, let's say a very common, okay, good. One thing to, a big draw that electric instruments have is you can practice them silently, especially if you live in an apartment or you have neighboring houses that are really close to you. You can do what's called silent practicing. And to do a quick recap, because I think it is important for you on YouTube to hear this, the bare minimum of what you need a headphone jack. And you have, I would recommend good quality overhead headphones. Not earbuds. It's not going to do well with the quality. Maybe if you have in-ears, if you're like, you know, I had to get used to wearing in-ears when I came to Vegas, and those would be a cool thing to use. But those are specifically geared for more complicated frequencies than everyday earbuds. But overhead earphones are really going to give you soundproofing and a very crystal clear sound with more dimension in it. And again, you need a headphone input spot. If it's... quick question. Someone said, do you have to buy special strings? No. Full-size cello strings should work. I haven't heard of a brand yet that needs specific strings, but a lot of them sell them. Like I know NS Design sells strings, and I said, you know, oh, so it has to fit this specifically, and they said no, and any cello string should work. I mean, their strings have done very well for me, so they've been doing well. Make sure you have strings that are tough. Because sometimes if you're really laying into your distortion and you want to hear bow noise, you might get a little wild when you're rocking out. And so you might need a little tougher of a string. So you need a headphone jack for silent practicing. And if the headphone jack is not on your cello, some of them do, some of them don't, you need it on your amp. And I do have it on this amp. And so you also need a 1/4-inch cable at least, and you can directly plug in. You do not need a pedal board to be amplified. And granted, you don't get as much control or cool sound effects. We call that going in direct, when you just plug in your instrument directly into the sound source, going direct. So you can definitely do that to practice. And you know, it is going to give you an acoustic sound. You're not going to have the warmth that the natural body of an acoustic cello gives you. You have that natural reverb of the hollow wooden body. Someone says, oh, you want to hear happy birthday? One of our dolls is celebrating a birthday. Well, I guess if it's your birthday, now everyone's going to come on every live stream and say it's their birthday, though. Give me a sec. I'll play you something for sure. Of course. So those are the bare minimums of what you need if you want to practice at home and get used to your acoustic on silent. All right, so Okay. So let's play Happy Birthday for our doll on Instagram. So serenading you there. So I hope you have an awesome day. And thank you for coming to the live stream on your birthday. That's awesome. All right, my dolls. Thank you all so much for contributing to this live stream, especially on YouTube. You dolls were so patient. I hope V and I made up for your waiting time. Again, so sorry about that, but now that I know what happened, it won't happen again. So y'all are awesome, and thank you for your patience. V had so much fun coming to play for y'all today. And of course, I know it's inevitable. Not everyone can make the live streams. So I'll definitely would be very interested in bringing V out for another demo sometime. And yeah, I hope you all really enjoyed this and learned something about electric cello playing. If you're on YouTube, feel free to leave a message in the comments if you have any questions that we didn't cover in today's stream. All right, thank you all so much, and we'll see you in December, planning a special live stream. And if you want a little hint, it's what we did last year. We did something special last year, and I want to continue that tradition this year. All right, my dolls, we'll see you soon. Oh no, it's okay. Someone said they just got here. It's okay. You can watch it after the fact. After the fact, if you missed the live stream, they're all on YouTube. All right, my dolls, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.